I was feeling almost like I could understand people who wanted to end their lives when they were really ill. You will get better. And it's down to just finding out what you need to get better.
And I would love to talk to you about the emotional implications of dealing with Sjogren's and mindset as well.
Well, I mean, emotionally, there's obviously so much, and so I obviously can't talk about
Mm.
all of it because at the beginning when I was diagnosed with Sjogren's, um, I hadn't been well for years before, and there were all these different types of diagnoses that were going on,
Mm.
and I was trying to live my life, but it was really difficult. There were times where I couldn't move, there were times where my brain fog was bad, and so many things, and for so many years. So when they said, look, and I was telling people I'm not well, maybe it's fibromyalgia, maybe it's this, that, the other. And when they told me I had Sjogren's, I was able to tell people I have an autoimmune disease, I have Sjogren's, and also to myself that, okay, I wasn't wrong. There is something, and now I can see how I can fix it. And then I realized, oh, it's not that easy to just fix it. So at first I was happy with having the diagnosis, and then I was like, well, what do I do now? And so at first I was okay with the way I dealt with it. Then more and more time passed, and I realized that the rheumatologists, GPs, doctors couldn't really do anything. And so that actually depressed me. And I felt that, especially, dry eyes, dry mouth, they don't sound like much, but they can be really, really hard, really horrible,
Mm.
and really affect your life. And those were like one of the initial things that I had when I was diagnosed, and then the fatigue. And for someone who's mainly, been able to just not have any fatigue and just do it, it was really, really hard to be stuck in bed.
Mm.
And when I realized that the doctors were saying, well, that's just how it is, that you're just going to be like this, kind of similar to your situation of you're just going to be like this, it got me down. And I was hopeful for a while, then I wasn't. I didn't even have time to think too much about it because I was so unwell. So all I
Mm.
was like, I can't talk to anyone, I can't listen to anything, I can't watch anything, I can't read. I just need to just quiet, nothing. And then when I got a bit better out of that, yeah, I just felt quite hopeless, actually, just like I couldn't do anything about it. Then in time, I think one of the things that helped me was my daughter had PCOS, and she cured herself from it with naturally. And she said to me, Mom, I believe that no matter what you have, and in those days, like she'd say that you could cure it, you could just get better. And I was like, yes, you're right. I should be more positive. And yes, I can. And I watched people and read about people like you did. When you see one person who can get better with something, that's it. That's
Yeah.
but if that person can get better, why not me?
Yeah.
So then there was a lady who didn't have Sjogren's, but she had ME, and she's on YouTube, and she got better. And I kept saying, yeah, but it's not inflammation based. It's not, but still. And I just listened to her. And then I read a book, and it's called Cured by Jeff somebody. And it talked about different people and different beliefs. And it's an amazing book. And some people would get better, some people wouldn't, depending on mindset, depending on all sorts of things. It was fascinating. And it gave me hope because I just felt like I had more control over this. And some days I would be a bit better, and I'd be like, well, why am I better? There must be something going on that's making
Mm.
this better. And so, um, yeah, but I will say, not that long before I met Jeremy, when the fatigue wouldn't go away, and
Mm.
I just kept saying to myself, I have to accept that I'm going to be like this. And I couldn't accept it, and I went to my doctor and I said, I can't live like this. I feel like, what's the word? That my your life, quality of life. I
Mm.
felt that I didn't have a quality of life. And I was feeling almost like I could understand people who wanted to end their lives when they were really ill. So I said, look, I need you guys need to give me something, just anything, to see if it will work to help with my fatigue. And also, I need it. And I kept asking for a psychotherapist, a health one. And I said, help, I'm not dealing with this very well. I'm still on that waiting list. It's been about 3 years, so no therapist. But the doctors gave me a week of steroids, and my energy came back with the steroids. And then I realized, okay, this has a lot to do with inflammation, and so I could find other ways of getting my energy back, and then that gave me hope. The steroids were off after a week, but I had the hope then. So anyway, I think I just everywhere I could, I got hope from. And even watching functional medicine practitioners in America talking about curing this and curing that, I didn't really believe everything they said, but some of the things made sense. And I knew that my doctors are not going to help me, and I need to look at alternative, like functional medicine. And I just Googled functional medicine, Sjogren's, UK, and then Germany came up, which was, yeah. So I don't know if that answers the question emotionally, but it wasn't like I am a very positive person naturally, but I wasn't being positive all the time. I definitely had.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And I feel like if it, if it was so powerful to get you down to the point where, you could understand when other people think about ending their lives.
Yeah.
That's basically Sjogren's at its worst, right? Like it's not just dry eyes and dry mouth. It affects everything. And
it was everything. I couldn't, my daughter and I are very, very close. I couldn't get out of bed to go to her, my mom's for her birthday. I'd never missed her birthday in my life. Just not being able to do these things. And then if I do have a bad day or anything, I do know that I've become better and that it will get better. And I know what my triggers are, and I know what a lot of things. Like I'm very, very aware of what's good for me, what's not good for me. And I'm just in such a very different place. And Sjogren's really taught me a lot. If it wasn't for Sjogren's, I would continue being the person I was before, which was somebody who didn't look after number one, who just did everything for everybody else, and was a real people pleaser, and that really affected me physically. And the one thing I want to say, which I think was the most, for me anyway, the most important thing that helped me as well, one of the most important things, was as soon as I was feeling unwell, I was forced to have boundaries, which I had never had in my life before. No boundaries. And that really helped me. To this day, I have boundaries, and they're quite tight. And that was the only way I could start healing, because I didn't have other people's needs, wants, expectations on me. And also, when you don't have the energy, just saying no, I can't, sorry. And that was the only way. I had to go in and have the boundary around me, and from there, look after me, listen to my body, listen to my mind, and see where do I take it from here. And that has been the best gift that Sjogren's has given me. Not good for anything.
Wow. That is so powerful what you just shared. It's incredible. It's like you by setting those boundaries, you were making that space, right, for your body and mind to heal, like making like this bubble.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's incredible. Yeah, and it's interesting that you say this, because just a couple of weeks ago, a client was asking me about this, if there was a pattern that I could observe in the people that we work with. And I told her that this is something that we actually see a lot in Sjogren's, that usually it's like really caring, really, women that basically give everything. And
Yeah.
obviously men also get it.
Yeah.
And of course, this is a pattern. It doesn't mean that everyone is like this, but
Yeah.
we have seen that it is often women that are like, they give and give and give and give,
Yeah.
and they end up empty. And that is very beautiful, because it means that they want to give because they are full of love, and they want to be everything for everyone. But then Sjogren's comes and it's like, okay, if you don't stop, I'm going to make you stop.
Yeah. That's
And
it. And many years ago, because I've always been aware of it, but I've never been good at stopping it, and Sjogren stopped it. But many years ago, I read this quote that said, "You can give of yourself, but don't give up of yourself." So,
I
like you
love
can give
that.
a, yeah, you can give a bit, but not just give up, give up. Another thing I did just was all throughout, even if I did mention this in a video before, but I did do a lot of affirmations all the time. I slept with affirmations, just listening to them. I recorded myself, so it was me coming from me, not from somebody else, that I am
Oh, I
healthy.
love this. Yeah.
And I would, and even now, I sometimes listen. I should do it more often. And it's not about like magic that you just listen to. I am well, and then you're well. But I think one part of it that's important is that then your brain starts thinking, how can I look for ways of becoming well? And also, I'm not stressing about being unwell. I'm like relaxed. I'm well. I'm okay. And I think in time, that does help the nervous system and also helps you look for answers. And yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. I just love that you said this. I feel like
yeah,
if people are watching us, this is such a powerful message. The boundaries and the affirmations. And there is actually science behind, if we tell something to ourselves, but we have to believe it.
yeah,
That's the other part of it. We have to believe it on some level. It cannot be like completely, something really out there, like I'm cured. Obviously, if you don't believe
yeah,
that you're cured, it's going to be
yeah,
difficult. Channeling that part of ourselves that is still well.
yeah.
And there is research that shows that the brain that the body will kind of internalize it. And
Yeah, and I was saying things like, all my cells in my body are healthy. It's like this whole thing. And also, if you do it, I listen to it every night and every morning, and sometimes I would have it on while I slept. And that is where a part of you, like your subconscious,
yeah, it's
will.
like hypnosis, right? Same.
Yeah, so it will
Yeah.
pick it up without you, because sometimes when you're doing it very consciously, you're like, yeah, right, I'm not healthy,
Mm,
I'm not. But
yeah.
if you keep hearing it, it does get in there. And
Yeah.
I don't really talk about it much because I know that it's something that some people think, but it did
Yeah.
help me. I know it helped me. I know it does help me.
Yeah, I also feel weird talking about this because I don't want people to think we're telling people like, oh, if you tell yourself you're cured, then you'll be cured.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
there is a study that's super interesting where they took people's, and there's actually quite a few studies where
Mhm.
they took people imagining their immune system to be getting stronger, and they measured their immune cells. And the people who imagined their immune cells being stronger had stronger immune cells. Like they
Fantastic.
did that before and after
Amazing.
experiment. And
Yeah,
it gives me shivers because I'm like, we don't know the potential of the body
yeah,
to
yeah,
heal itself. We don't know.
yeah,
We are tapping
yeah,
into it. And of course, it's not about like we say, like miracles or
yeah,
saying I am cured, but it's a process.
yeah,
And like you said, you put a lot of effort into your healing. It's not
yeah,
like you
yeah,
woke up one day and it happened. Like you've
yeah.
invested a lot of time and effort into yourself. So, it's a process, but it helps.
Yeah, it helps. I mean, if at the very least, just to give you a positive mindset or hopeful. But yeah, no, I mean, I do believe, I think in the book Cured, they did mention these type of studies as well. And people like Joe Dispenza, who
Mm.
helped himself from, he had a car crash, he couldn't even walk, and he helped himself through like thinking and all that. But yeah, um, yeah. Because I'm on these steroids, my mind's a bit all over the place. I don't know if I'm explaining things very well, but
No, it's perfect. I think it's super useful. And it's a lot of the things that we talk about with our clients. So, this is
yeah. Okay.
free coaching that you're giving that you're giving people. Yeah. And I
Oh,
love what you said. I love that you recorded yourself. I think this is because then it's yours and
it's
you
it's
can
coming from
record
me.
something. Yeah, you can record something that feels like it could be believable for
Yeah,
you. And that's very
yeah,
important because our brain has a bull detector.
yeah,
But it is. So when we tell ourselves things that we don't think it's true, then our brain is like, no, what are you
yeah,
on about? This is not.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
felt it was because I was listening to, I forgot her name. She was like one of the first people who did this. I forgot her name now. And she really helped me. I used to do meditations of hers. I forgot her. God, I'll write it down here because I can't remember her name. And then and I then thought I want to hear myself say this because it's not a third party, it's not like a second person or whatever. And then when I'm hearing it, it's coming from me. It just feels like it's coming from me. Yeah.
yeah,
It was more powerful. Yeah. Yeah.
I love that. So basically it sounds like from your journey, like for me, I always see a very positive person. And of course, there's been a lot of ups and downs. But in your channel, you also show your other side.
Yeah.
In your YouTube channel, you also show when you're feeling down, which is what
Yeah.
I love about your channel, that you're completely honest.
I'm too
But
honest. I was saying that the other day. Like I can look really awful and I'll be like, oh, I feel like this, and I still record it because I just think people can then relate.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it always feels to me, I don't know how to explain it, but I feel like even when you're feeling down, you're still positive. I don't know how to explain
Really?
this. It just feels like you're a naturally optimistic
That's
person.
good. I
And
am. I am. It takes a lot for me to then like get down, and then usually I can pick myself up again. And because I do see that I've always all my life seen like the beauty and the positivity. Always the glass has been, half full, and in the smallest thing, I've always enjoyed everything in the smallest things, and
oh.
thank God, yeah. But yeah, but still, chronic illness, Sjogren's is not an easy thing. So
Really admire. I know it's when you tell people who have Sjogren's and you say like, "Oh, you're so strong," and it's like it's not because they want to be; it's
I
because they
know,
had to be. They
I
had
know.
to be strong to
Yeah.
survive, basically to adapt. So
Yeah,
it's really, that's why I really respect Sjogren's and people with Sjogren's because it's just such a difficult uh, disease to live
yeah.
with.
There's
Yeah.
so much. It's not just one thing.
Well, I was actually going to ask, how do you stay positive? But I feel like you answered it. It sounds so. First, it seems like your mind is looking for that hope, and I love that. I feel like I said that as well before of the importance of hope. Just
Yes,
looking for those success stories, and even if they are
yes,
not success stories, people that manage to get even a little bit better, that can be
yes,
so important for the healing journey, whether you
yeah,
have Sjogren's or anything
yeah.
else. Knowing that it can get even 1% better is so important.
Yeah, I mean, all throughout, before I met Jeremy, like all throughout, I did keep saying to myself, I'm going to do everything that is like the healthiest person possible out there does,
Mm.
nutrition, lifestyle, everything. And I am sure that something from that is going to make me a bit better. I didn't know how much better, but I knew it would do something. I mean, um, so yeah, I was going to say something else.
Yeah, so can I ask you if you had to give three pieces of advice to people who are struggling with Sjogren's, when you think back to that place where you were feeling really, really down, what are three pieces of advice that you would give someone who is struggling with that?